oompaville made a video on the Lego controversy, and I love oompaville so much. He's one of my favorite creators. I got 2 minutes into it and I was like, you know what? We're gonna pause this. We're gonna watch it on stream because this just looks fun. Yeah, I can't. That's called a caste system. Yeah, isn't racist supposed to be the guy who drives racing cars? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Dude, I'm the worst racist in the world. I crash all the time, dude. The coffee something, dude. Coffeezilla is great. I do love Coffeezilla, but his videos are never entertaining enough for me to watch. I always feel like he does amazing work. Coffeezilla does some fantastic work that is helping all of humanity. I really do feel like that. But his videos are so fucking boring, dude. Holy shit, I can't sit through. I fall asleep every time I'm watching a Coffeezilla video. Every single time. Like, holy crap, dude.
Some of us are collectors of fine goods. We like having something tangible of the things that we love. Some of us spend an entire lifetime building those collections, hoping that one day it might bring us joy. And maybe, if we're lucky, a couple of monies, couple of
Yeah, that was a little louder than I expected. That hit me with the full force of the power. Well, the story was funny enough. Yeah, fair enough. That's why then I saw an oompaville video came out, and I was like, all right, it's time to lock in and find out what's really going on here. Because I've seen bits and pieces of the Lego story, but I haven't seen what really happened with Legos. So I'm ready to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. Call me Alice, because I'm here for the Wonderland, bro. And see the CEO, how stupid he is. Apparently the CEO and his brother are both heavily involved, and the things that they say are just so fucking stupid, it's crazy. The thing that, it's like, they lie constantly. From the things that I've seen, they are just constantly lying about shit and never ever telling the truth, and it's wild that anybody would believe them, even for an instant.
shekels, I guess. Then you reach the end of your life and it's finally time to cash in on your collection. It's time to find out what a lifetime of collecting is actually worth. But wait!
Dude, yeah, I did see that the CEO, not only did he send the picture to the coffee guy, he to Coffeezilla, he went and like had a whole interview with him and his brother, but then also the other side. And the other side was just like, every time that they lied about something, they were like, yeah, here's the empirical evidence that they're lying. Here's the actual just proof that the CEO guy is lying. And it's like, oh, okay. And of course, Coffeezilla is not trying to get sued by these guys, so, because they're just suing everybody. So he's just like, yeah, you know, draw your own conclusions. I'm not going to say if they're telling the truth or not.
Imagine this, it gets stolen right out from underneath you by some evil people.
Yes, Lego does need to just start suing them and make it so they can't even say the word Lego in their store. Honestly, I'm not even against that, Harmony. I think that this is doing damage to the brand because people are more scared to buy Lego. People don't want to buy a stolen Lego set, and they don't want to buy an expensive Lego set that then is going to get stolen from them when they try to sell it. It is going to do big damage to the Lego industry. I hate dumb lawsuits, but they're directly harming the brand now for sure. Not only that, but anybody who involves themselves in what could be considered lawfare is the new term for it, which these guys are doing by attacking Reckless Ben. They took him to court and now he's not able to talk about it anymore. Like, they literally took him to court just to shut him up. Anybody who involves themselves in this, I 100% am for going after them in the same exact way, but twice as hard. Never think that your enemy is above using the tactics that you think are bad. Your enemy is never going to be a better person, like, probably not even going to be as good of a person as you, at least in your own mind, and nobody is above taking drastic actions to take down their rival. They lie about the van and the coffee guy. Check the picture, see the van in the picture that CEO said. How stupid can you be? Yeah, for real.
Some horrid beasts, I should say. And not only that, but you're dying, and your kids and your grandkids should see a scent of what should have been theirs, but they don't, because somebody took it. Now, that's a fictional story that I just made up just now, but it's based on a real scandal.
That's a perfect screenshot of Coffeezilla, dude.
The bricks and minifig scandal of the last few weeks, and it is getting crazier every single day.
Dog, hold on, the face. I'm gonna save it real quick, save image. Let's see. We'll name it image AS so that it's easy to save. Alright, you guys gotta see this. This is fucking funny. Holy shit. This is this is exactly how I feel about the whole situation. They're so perfect. That is literally how I feel about the whole situation. Oh my god.
And I might get sued for even talking about it.
He even confirmed again. The CEO said no van ever, and then he pulled out the picture where you could see the van. Yeah, and then they start saying, well, we did transport stuff in U-Hauls. We just didn't do it that time. And it's like, oh, okay, buddy. All right.
And yes, I am suicidal. Everybody always comments, who's not suicidal? I am, bro. I am. This nightmare.
Oh man, I fucking feel it, dude. It's like, dude, I'm gonna come out and say that I'm not suicidal all the time. That way that if I ever do die or fucking do anything stupid, people will just think that the government did it, just as a bit.
Collector scenario is more or less what the bricks and mini.
I'll be like, yeah, guys, no, I'm super healthy and everything. There's no way I could die, and then I die of fucking cancer the next day. Like, dude, the government did it to him, man. He was so healthy.
Figs franchise did to Ed Mansell and his.
By the way, that's what Trevor Moore did. That's literally what Trevor Moore did. So Trevor Moore, he made fun of the government constantly called them out on their shit and everything, and then got wasted drunk all the time on stream. Literally was known for just getting so blackout drunk on stream that one day he got blackout drunk, was smoking a cigarette on his second-story balcony, and fell off and broke his neck when he hit the ground. And everybody believes that the government did it. Because he just set it up that way. Also, though, when he died, they put in the local newspaper that he was, instead of putting, like, you know, actor, comedian, or anything like that, they put local sex pot, because that's what he asked them to say.
His son.
It's telling me that it is 5:45. I don't know why I have an alarm set for 5:45.
Figs franchise did to Ed Mansell and his son Brian in Kaiser, Oregon. And help for them came from the most unlikely place imaginable. A YouTuber named Reckless Ben, who has done a ton of deep dives.
So basically my friend said that you guys have some of his Legos, I think, and he told me to come here and see if I could pick them up.
He's a very talented YouTuber and has essentially started an entire movement around that town, and now there's people speaking at council in regard to the police there. I mean, there is a lot to unpack with this whole scenario, scandal, whatever you want to call it, drama. Come on, man.
Our police department in March went on a crusade against an individual, and he now has legal rights to sue this city.
Damn.
By now, you've probably caught some version of the story, but it's finally winding toward an end, or at least it's developing a little bit slower. So I'll give you a very brief 30,000 foot angle so we can align on our swim lanes here, all in one go.
All right, cool.
This is a story about Legos that somehow turns into a story about corruption, organized crime accusations, police brutality, a man fleeing to Mexico, threats of planted drugs, and someone quietly losing their place in their own church.
Wait. Holy shit, dude. Okay. All right, I'm locking in. Oh, he did go to Mexico. That's crazy, dude. Bro ran away to fucking Mexico to not get arrested. Oh, they're Mormon, by the way. Yeah, so this is what I think I was ranting about this the other day, how the Mormon church for sure needs to excommunicate them because the Mormon people are really actually pretty good people most of the time. And I think that that's what I just heard they did. Good on them. Hell yeah. If you don't cast out your bad members of your group, then you are defined by the bad members of your group. That is the truth. And that's why you'll see, and I'm not going to give any examples because I don't want to get in trouble, but that's why you'll see with some groups, people hate them more than other groups is because they don't call out the bad actors inside of their group. You know? They're the exception to the rule, yeah. But they bring the money.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Hell yeah.
Mormons. And it all starts with a Lego collection. So, who are the Mansells? Ed Mansell is 83 years old and over about the last 50.
Man, they did this to an 83-year-old dude. He's got like fucking 10 years left, bro. He's got 5 fun years left. 5 years left where he can have fun. And they're doing this to this dude.
15 years, he built something genuinely staggering. 780 Lego sets and more than 1,200 minifigures. The family puts its value somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000. Now, Ed has had cancer for a little while, and what he wanted was simple. He wanted to sell the collection, put his grandkids through college, and leave them something. So he handed the entire collection.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh my god, these guys are so much more evil than I initially thought. Holy crap. Okay, alright.
To his son Brian to sell. Brian was a working.
Brian, I love your look. This guy, this is how I want to dress, but I don't have it. I can't do that, but man, I love the style. The little newsboy cap, the fucking London fog.
Musician, or is a working musician, an audio engineer and producer, and now for the foreseeable future, he's instead going to be a man.
They sued Brian too? Jesus, these people need to they need to get fucked, dude. The guy selling them doesn't currently know they're stolen. No one wants to break it to him. Oh my god. Oh shit.
Trying to fight to get his dying father's Legos back, because that is where all of this fell apart. So, what exactly happened with the collection? How did all of this fall apart in the first place? Brian took the collection to their local bricks and minifig.
Dog, anything that looks like this. So, this is your first mistake. Never, ever, ever, and I mean this completely, with my whole ass, never sell your collection of anything to a fucking brick and mortar store. Never do it. Never ever do it. Because the best you're going to get out of it is 10% of the value. Take the time, find a collector, don't be lazy. I know he's dying, so this guy it doesn't really count for because he had to just do it immediately. But if you have the time, never ever sell your stuff to a brick and mortar store. GameStop, Bricks and Minifigs, any of these places, V-Stock, they will rip your ass off all the way. It's crazy. Yeah, he doesn't need to know. He's dying. Just leave him alone, basically. Yeah, true. Yep, 50% of your money is just gone instantly. Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is a national chain that buys, sells, and trades used Legos in Kaiser, Oregon, just outside of Salem. They put the collection up on consignment. And a consignment agreement,
just outside of Salem. I knew they were acting like witches.
Is a very standard and normal form of sale for businesses. Lots of antique stores use them. Anything where someone wants to sell something and they're not sure exactly where to do it, that's when consignment comes up. The store sells the stuff for you, then the store takes a cut, and until it sells, it stays your property. Obviously, the owners of the B&M franchise at the time of the consignment was a couple named Crystal Law and Ben Gorman.
I'm sorry, but get all that dumb shit out of your guys' face. What the fuck, dude? Maybe I'm an asshole, but your stupid ass eyebrow piercings and your wife with her nose ring, I immediately trust you less just because of that shit. I immediately, like within an instant, I see that on your face and I immediately think you're not trustworthy. And then behind him, dude, God, I think, all right, so here's another thing, right? And I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. That poster right behind him really makes me not like this person. It really, really makes me not like this person. This machine kills fascists. And who is the fascist to you, right? So you're probably the same type of person who's just going to decide who's a fascist and who's not. You're not going to base it on any reality. It's not going to be actual fascism. It's going to be some dude who you don't agree with politically or socially. And so now you are going to try to give other people the social permission structure to kill them. It's fucked up. I don't like this guy at all. This guy sucks. I hate this guy and I hate his wife. And I know they're probably not necessarily the bad guys of the story, but I hate these people. I fucking hate them. Honestly. I used to trade antiques and people would always be like, what? When I explained to them when I was offering 40 to 50% of what I valued it, yeah. I genuinely always felt bad, hence why I stopped, but it was just the reality of it. Yeah, exactly. I don't care too much about stuff like that, yeah. The moment you start killing the fascists, you are a fascist. I mean, my issue is that people will say, this guy's a fascist because he said he likes mustard on his hot dogs and not ketchup. That now we need to kill that guy too because he's a fascist. It's like nobody knows what the word even fucking means anymore. That's the problem. If the person has some out of normal tattoo. Hey, dude, if you've got eyebrow piercings or a face tattoo, I immediately trust you less. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. You offer big, here they offer 25% for the antiques. Jeez. Yeah, I mean, shit, over here it's like 10.
Franchise at the time of the consignment was a couple named Crystal Law and Ben Gorman.
I'm Crystal, also go by Chris.
I'm Benjamin,
Yeah, I don't like her.
not Reckless Ben, the YouTube documentarian. I'm Benjamin Gorman, the novelist. We co-owned the franchise.
They signed off on this massive epic collection because their franchise contract explicitly allowed consignment for them. And that is a very important detail, much like the price. It matters later as well. Crystal and Ben had
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what consignment means. I don't know what consignment means. I'm not that smart.
bought the franchise back in 2023 with Crystal running the store day to day as a manager, and Ben worked mostly as a novelist and on his
To be fair, it depends on the items. I always had the buyers in mind before buying something. As a collector, I knew many other collectors. True. You got to know what you're getting, what you're selling, who you're selling it to. This is the problem with people who do heists, right? Heists of, now this is a tangent. The people who do heists of, like, for example, the Louvre. Those guys who broke in and stole all the shit on the top floor because the Louvre has the worst security in the entire fucking world, even though it has everybody's fancy shit. Well, what the hell? Anyways. They left a ladder up there. Those guys didn't even put the ladder. They left that there. But who are you going to sell that stuff to? Like, you got to have a buyer. You got to have somebody to buy the shit. A fence. You got to be able to hide the money for a long time because you can't just come out and be like, I made $1 million. And won't see that happen in a British museum. Just saying, yeah, or an American one. You won't see that happen here either. Dude, I don't know what the hell. French people are too worried about having revolutions, you know? They're not worried about anything else. Every time I see France on the news, it's just like, France has burned itself to the ground again. And I'm like, okay, why? Why do you guys keep doing this? It feels like every 2 years, France burns itself to the ground. I don't know what's going on over there.
his publishing work, with some of it being pointed enough to make their lives complicated in the current political climate in the area that they live in, and it had them planning a move to Spain. They told B&M Corporate that they intended on eventually leaving, and corporate seemed fine with that, but it turns out corporate was not fine.
They put something in the baguettes. Yeah, dude, they must have. Holy shit.
With it, corporate was already planning to take the store for themselves. And remember, there's between $60,000 and $200,000 of consigned Legos from one guy in the store. Now, it happened at night. A man named Brandon Best showed up demanding the keys. Corporate on the phone, the takeover suddenly happening right now.
They understood there was a large collection on consignment and acknowledged they were taking that over.
And another thing to remember is Brandon's name, because he keeps coming back. That night, on that very footage, Best and a corporate rep named Kai McAllister are told the store is holding a massive consignment that belongs to...
Alright, tangent, I just saw this, dude. Pete Best, alright? The guy... I know this is way off topic, but it's made me think of this. Imagine being Pete Best. You were the original drummer for the Beatles before Ringo got signed, and considered a much better drummer than Ringo, because when Ringo signed on to the Beatles, the producer literally told him, "You're not allowed in the studio. Come back in a month when you learn how to play the drums." So, but Pete Best had to leave the Beatles or got kicked out. I think he was sick or something. So he literally missed being in the Beatles. Holy shit, dude. Could you imagine the disappointment? And I'm pretty sure he was sick, but then he got better. So he was able to watch the Beatles just skyrocket to the ultra fame. And meanwhile, he's sitting there watching Ringo sit in his chair. That must have sucked. Oh my god. The good thing is the GoFundMe for these guys reached 500K. Well, didn't the GoFundMe get taken down, though? Like, they're not allowed to use the funds for the lawsuit or something? Or I might be mixing things. I'm probably mixing things together.
To one man.
I don't know.
Brian Mansell, and that he has to be paid. But
I think that what it is in the lawsuit, the company is trying to steal the money from the GoFundMe and have it go to them instead.
Both of them agreed to that
again,
consignment
or...
liability on camera and to take on the business and the consignment that all comes with it.
It's taking on the business, he takes on all that consignment liability.
On camera. And also remember that, because Bricks and Minifigs is about to spend quite a while pretending that it just didn't really ever happen.
Dude, these guys suck. Holy shit. This is the thing about this story. I actually just don't like anybody involved except for the family that got fucked over and, like, Reckless Ben, you know? I don't like either of these company people. I don't like the people who run the store, who weren't able to sell the shit and just kind of let all this happen. and I'm not really cool with the corporation at all. Don't know how that works.
Or happen, I guess, if you're not an idiot. I said happened. When Crystal and Ben tried to fight the takeover, the message was blunt.
That we could fight them, but they would drag it out and make it so expensive we would be putting ourselves into a whole lot of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, the old owners seem for sure sus. They for sure seem sus.
Words.
The classic legal shakedown. It happens all the time, unfortunately, in small businesses, and it is the way that a large group of people do business in the United States of America.
True.
If you fight this, then you're putting yourself into a whole lot of shit. It sounds like a threat, and I can acknowledge you feeling that because in a way it is.
I do not understand it, and I think that it is fundamentally evil to, instead of working together, just using your big wallet to, it's...
Yeah, but the thing about this is you can also win a lawsuit in America and have somebody pay your entire court fees whenever you win. Plus, there's a whole, like, outrage cycle of GoFundMe that you can use to fund your lawsuits now. So the whole, like, oh, they sue, and plus these people obviously had money if one of them is a working author. You can't be a working author who writes books if you don't have fucking money. I'm sorry, you just cannot. That dude has money. And then the other lady who's running her own business, and, like, for them to pretend like they can't fight the lawsuit whenever they for sure could, and they could, like, win their money back and even get money for lost revenue and, like, lost opportunity, which would probably equal way more than what they would actually make in real life in the time period. Like, I don't know. I don't see this as something that they actually tried or anything. When you hear the CEO, they sound really good based on how bad the CEO sounds. Yeah, fair enough.
Up, and it's very evil. This whole thing is up and evil. But Kai McAllister basically admitted that if it sounded like a threat, it was one. And McAllister, by the way, had a LinkedIn profile at the time that has since been wiped. There is tons of backtracking being done, and the story is consistently changing.
All right, if you have a recording of him saying that, though, then that, like, literally you could just take that to court. I mean, come on. Like, what? You have a recording of him threatening you, saying that the legal action is a threat and that it's not actually based on anything real. You don't even have to go to court. You can get the lawsuit thrown out just under that pretense alone. Because you have a recording of the guy literally admitting that it's all bullshit. I mean, so, this, yeah, for sure sus. For sure sus.
Changing it. By the time that this comes out, there will have been a week between its release and me recording it, and I'm sure I will add things to it and change things around because of how constantly the story is developing, even though it's basically over because Reckless Ben is no longer legally allowed to even talk about the mystery company.
They sent court papers to my email, which I guess a judge approved for them that this was a valid form of service. And
Crazy.
So now that I'm officially served, I cannot even mention this company or I will be in jail and everything.
So anyways, the Gormans never made their move to Spain. The franchise was simply gone. And from there, Bricks and Minifigs would go on to flatly deny that they even allow consignments, despite it being written into their own contract, and despite the fact that they had publicly advertised this exact collection sitting in their store, which is f***ed up. For
That's
Crystal
crazy.
and Ben, the only play left was to back a legal fight and try to get Brian's collection counted as damages because somebody was legally on the hook to pay him back, obviously.
We believe the best way to get Brian compensated is to win our lawsuit and include the full value of his collection in the damages so that he can then be compensated.
So Brian...
So they are suing for the money. They ended up still going to court, but they want his money. They want this old man's money. And then, oh, no, we'll totally give it to him. Yeah, no, we're for sure gonna give him the money after we win it. Get fucked. I don't like these people either.
started work to get back his
Fucking scam artists, dude.
collection. He sent the new owners of the franchise a formal termination letter of the consignment, putting them on notice that these sets were his. Then he had a friend of his go into the store and buy one of those sets to test them, basically. Right after he put the store on notice and told them not to sell any of the sets that were his, which
Man.
is about as clean of proof as it gets that they sold a set that was never theirs to sell, which is stealing, as far as I'm aware. But I am not a
Well, the thing is, if you as a regular person steal from anybody, it's theft. But if a corporation steals from you, then it's a civil matter. It's bullshit. It's fucked up. But I don't know. It's the way it is, and I think it shouldn't be. It's stupid.
A lawyer, nor am I smart. But by now, the store had 2 new owners installed by corporate. Brandon Best, this guy, the keys guy, and a man named Joshua Johnson. Both of them looked Brian in the eye and said they had nothing of his. No Legos, nothing. Even though his friend just came in, bought one of Brian's sets, and walked out the front door. As you can probably...
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy way that the law works here. It's literally, so if you steal more than $1,000 from somebody in America, that's considered grand larceny, which, and that could be from a corporation too. So if you go into a Walmart and you steal $1,000 more, or $1,000 worth of stuff, then you have committed grand larceny, which means that you're going to prison. You're going to prison for a few years. All right? But if this company steals $100,000 or $200,000 from you, which is way fucking more, then you have to take them to court and you have to figure it all out, even though it's all right there.
Probably imagine Brian was handed the exact same line that...
Yeah, they protect the rich. That's all. That's what a lot of the laws are made for in Western countries now. Honestly, it's 100% just organized crime. It is. That's the whole issue, is that everybody just kind of forgot that robber barons will always try to exist, and we're going back to the time of robber barons now. We're going back to the time of monopolies and one corporation owning all the media and then one corporation owning all the technology. And, you know, it's like, it's not good. It's really not good.
That the previous owners of the franchise got, that court will cost you more than it's worth, so just eat the loss. He emailed the CEO of Lego itself for help with...
Yeah, they said just eat the loss. And then they supposedly ate the loss and then sued them, and they want to steal the old man's money too in their lawsuit. These previous owners, they want the old man's money for his Lego set.
No response, and at the end of his rope, reaching out anywhere he could, the place that finally answered was a YouTuber named Reckless Ben. Now, who is Reckless Ben?
It's a little strange. This is the...
They saw Blade Runner and played Cyberpunk and just sat taking notes. God, that is so true. Holy shit. In 1984. Oh my god.
First time someone's ever criticized me about the investigative work I do. Normally people like it because like I'm taking down things like Scientology or evil cults.
His real name is Benjamin Paul Schneider, a 30-year-old filmmaker, entrepreneur, professional slackliner. If you don't know what slacklining is, it's scary.
This guy does look like a slackliner, though.
This guy's crazy and so reckless. Ben grew up in Ohio, went to the University of Cincinnati, and got popular enough online for slacklining that he dropped out of engineering school 3 years in, and in 2019 he landed his first real notoriety by stealing an unverified Banksy.
I'll be showing you how to steal a Banksy painting. Okay, I mean, it's not really a Banksy painting. Everyone thinks it's a Banksy painting, so same thing. Step 1, create a fake eBay auction and fake approval from Banksy to pick it up.
I'm here to pick up a painting of mine.
And that's Ben's whole brand. He's a gonzo journalist. He doesn't report on a story so much as he climbs inside of it and then...
The greatest thing that Hunter S. Thompson did for journalism was create gonzo journalism.
Just it. He becomes part of it while it's happening. And before any of this, he was very well known for 2 investigations. One into McCamey Manor, the extreme haunted house that people signed legal waivers to survive.
This haunted house is McCamey Manor.
Oh my god, I've heard about that. McCamey Manor is crazy. We'll have to watch a video on this one day because it is disturbing. This guy just basically ran this place so that he could abuse people. Physically abuse people. That was it.
It's called the most extreme haunted house in America.
Boom. Just applied for McCamey Manor.
That's right.
And his expose of a horror film creep who went by Lucifer Valentine.
This is a huge mystery on the internet that has still never been solved because the director is completely anonymous. So, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to solve it.
I genuinely do not recommend looking into the second one, but Ben unmasked him as a successful Emmy-winning editor named Sean Federchuk. Either way, there's a pattern there. What Ben does is run straight at things that most people sort of run away from. And Brian asked for help. Ben thought it was interesting enough, so he went and helped and answered. And Ben helps the only way.
That's so sick, too. By the way, this wasn't even... Reckless Ben was not the first people to call out Bricks and Minifig. Apparently, there was a video from like 4 months ago of some other YouTuber who found other people who had got scammed by the same company.
He knows how, which is loud. In helping, he runs lottery-style raffles. He
Allegedly.
There's a fake rival company called We Steal From Old People.
This video is sponsored by We Steal From Old People, and you can visit us at www.westealfromoldpeople.com.
Where can I sign up for this immediately? I want to join this. I want to join this organization.
We're actually at We Steal From Old People's headquarters right now. This is our office.
He launches a grievance campaign against the store. He tricks the staff into signing consent form, and he spins up an actual Lego cult to try to turn the employees against their own bosses. He pickets the place in his underwear, which is pretty hilarious. And the goal of all this, seems like, is to get Bricks and Minifigs corporate to sue him, so he gets hauled into court for free and can finally put the theft allegations in front of a judge. It's a very interesting way to handle a situation like this, and probably the only way that would have any movement whatsoever. Because even in spite of that, in spite of everything that's happened, which is a lot more than we've talked about right now, it gets way worse, they're still not backing down, and they're still threatening people. And
Dog. All right, I gotta say this though, onto their defense. Never back down and never admit fault. The only way is forward, alright? If you ever do something wrong, you do something horrible, and you're like a bigger guy, you're a bigger guy, don't even acknowledge it. Just keep pretending it never ever happened, or else it will define you. It will completely define you. And if you don't agree with that, then maybe we should ask Hassan to stop shocking his dog.
And the seams are just coming apart. But either way, the stunts don't crack corporate. Ben gets clever. He and Brian sit down with CEO Ammon McNeff, who offers to return the sets on one condition, that Mansell has to apologize. They refuse. So Ben builds a workaround. Oregon's small claims caps each case at 10 grand, which is nowhere near the collection's value, so he has himself and about 10 friends each buy roughly $10,000 of Brian's sets, turning them into 10 separate people who can each sue the store on their own.
That's crazy, dude. Holy crap, I love that.
In small claims court.
If 10 different people get their Legos stolen by Bricks and Minifigs, all 10 people can individually sue, and it turns out that that is actually not considered claim splitting.
Bricks and Minifigs never shows up to a single case, and Ben files for a default judgment, and the very next day, the Oregon store permanently shuts its doors, dodging the payout before he can collect a single cent.
Now, there's absolutely no way to hold this store liable for what they did.
So it's kind of a win, but it's a hollow win, because they didn't lose, they just disappeared. So Ben takes it to Deseret, Utah, where the actual owners live.
I didn't realize how deep this went. This guy went in. Holy crap. Reckless Ben is an actual hero.
To serve them directly. And this is where things really turn for the scary and the worst, because the moment he shows up, he starts getting accused of doctoring his own footage, and the police, the American Fork Police Department, American Fork being the Utah town that Johnson lives in.
Video's a little louder. Okay, word. Appreciate that. Let's see. I don't know why, but sometimes when I click on this, it'll take a second for...
Get called out on stalking and harassment.
Did the police just show up? What the heck? Why are the police at his house?
Oh, there's another one, dude. 2 cop cars.
3 cop cars?
Oh my God. Cop cars.
Why is there 3 cop cars at his house? We didn't even walk up to his house yet.
With Johnson almost instantly, then Ben said,
damn it.
We didn't even walk up to his house yet.
They side with Johnson almost instantly, then Ben says he got pulled over and was accused of having heroin in his car, which matters because Ben Gorman had already warned him that this was the exact play, that corporate's people had floated planting heroin on him to make the whole problem disappear.
What? The police apparently got a call that we had heroin on us. After 2 hours of searching the car, obviously they found no drugs.
And this all escalated very fast. Ben's Airbnb was rated on a...
Dog, that's crazy. They tried to say he had some fucking H on him too. What the fuck?
Warrant with the kind of force that you reserve for someone actually dangerous, and he and 4 friends are hauled in. Only Ben stays. He spends days locked up with Ben's shoulder...
Why is he holding him like that?
Getting dislocated in the middle of it. What is the justification of the warrant? Bricks and Minifigs claim that Ben...
Dog, I feel like he has a very good lawsuit against the city for that. I feel like he can make $1 million out of just that.
Had actually stolen the Legos, and a judge signed it, by the way.
The reason they were searching our house was, it says, there is now certain property or evidence described as
any stolen merchandise, specifically Lego merchandise. Evidence of illegal conduct on us that we stole the Legos.
And this is the point in which
That's
Bricks and Minifigs
crazy.
starts trying to save itself. On May 21st, 2026, corporate posts a statement putting distance between itself and Johnson and Best, announcing that it does not condone exploiting anyone, especially older or vulnerable people. That is their very bolded line that they're really trying to get across. And
I will say, it does kind of seem like the old owners are also shady as fuck and are doing bad stuff. Like, the fact that in their lawsuit they're trying to get the money from the old man as well, that kind of says it all. Like, that really does say it all. That in their lawsuit that they're... Also, they could have taken them to court initially, but they didn't. They could have stopped all this in its tracks whenever the dude said, you can't take me to... Or, I'm gonna take you to court, and it's all bullshit, and they have it on recording. The whole, like, it's bullshit. No, they wanted to wait so that they could sue and make a quick buck off of this situation. So these old owners, I'm gonna say it, not many people are saying it, I think they're just as scummy. I really do. I think they're just as scummy.
And it's aimed at a guy who just slapped "We steal from old people" on a sign with their actual name underneath. So it's like a direct response, kind of. And their actual defense is that corporate never authorized the consignment agreement, except that they accepted it on camera. But I guess when you say something, it's not real. When you use words, it's not real. You have to write it down for it to be real.
That is actually true.
It's too easy to just change your mind. And their backup defense is that the items aren't even in the store anymore, and that whatever they could identify as Brian's was offered back to him, but he refused because he wouldn't apologize.
You do have to have a written agreement. You can't... Verbal agreements hold very little weight in court.
So, think about that for a moment, I guess. Bricks and Minifigs wanted an apology for breaking the law and then sicking the cops on the person serving them papers. That's kind of how it seems. I don't know if that's the real scenario. That's just kind of what I'm interpreting from, all the publicly available news.
And let me be clear, when I'm criticizing the old owners of the store too, I am in no way saying that the Bricks and Minifig corporate are good. They are scum and villainy, truly.
There. It's pretty crazy. Around this point, Ben floats a theory for why the police keep covering for these guys. They're all Mormon!
I got a phone call, and this call was from Brian, the collector's son, who got all their stuff stolen. And he has a theory of what might be going on here.
Yeah, the cops down there are definitely all in with the Mormon community, and being the Bricks and Minifigs is part of that and worth millions. I would not doubt that they have donated hefty sums to the Mormon church, of which all the cops are probably a part of.
This definitely tracks.
That actually baseball, huh? It makes a lot of sense.
Mormons are all on the same side, pretty much, but it also obviously does not represent the experience that a lot of people have had with Mormons. For example, I've had a lot of really good experiences with Mormons, especially after my very critical video of the history of the Mormon church, in which I didn't really pull any punches, to be honest, because I don't really give a f. But they were extremely nice, and they got my heart a little bit. I'm gonna be...
Yeah. From what I understand, they sent him a copy of the Mormon Bible to be like, hey, look, dude, I understand you have criticisms of us or whatever, but would you just read it? Like, just read what you're talking about, and if you do that, we have no problem. That's how most of them actually feel. That's why whenever they watch the Book of Mormon, like the play, most Mormons don't have a problem with it, because they're like, yeah, I mean, it's respectful, it doesn't really lie about anything, so... We're fine with it and gets our name out there. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly.
To be real with you guys, the Mormons, they have my heart. Are they Christian? I don't know. I don't think it really matters. They seem to be devoted to Christ regardless. Sure, they didn't let black people into the church until the 1970s.
I didn't know that part.
That's a classic ex-Mormon point. Anyways, this sort of makes sense. The Mormons have their own very unique cabal. A lot of them work very closely in business together, and they back each other up. And they also just back normal people up, by the way, as well.
They do.
Just like on average.
I said this before, but Mormon people, even if you're not a part of their church and you tell them you don't want to be part of their church, they will still help you pay for your bills if you're behind. They'll help get you food. Like, the Mormons... I don't know if they have to be this way or something, but it doesn't really matter to me because they just are, in general, good people. I do feel that way. And I'm not Mormon at all, as a disclaimer. Not even a little bit.
They just seem to be really nice and helpful. But McNeff, Johnson, Best, the responding cops, and even the judge are all members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is the Mormon Church.
Brandon Best, Joshua Johnson, and Eamon, the CEO, are all super Mormon. Like, the CEO even went to the Mormon University. And when I looked up all the police officers who were treating me unfairly, they were all Mormon too.
And they're all operating on their home
dude?
turf in Utah, which, by the way, I dropped the video when I was driving through Utah. I was like, looking around, I was scared a little bit, not really. And people already really like trolling Mormons, so they ran with it and they called it the Mormon Mafia. And we'll come back to that as well. So then Bricks and Minifigs sues. Reckless Ben and Brian are sued both for what they call a coordinated campaign to extort, racketeer, and defame the company. They fire a cease and desist at Patreon demanding Ben's page comes down.
Crazy.
And Patreon's CEO, for the first time ever, takes a stand, reads it, and refuses because there are no real grounds.
That's badass. I wish that GoFundMe and Patreon would do this more often in both ways, because dog, there are some GoFundMes out there that it's like clearly just evil. That's clearly an evil GoFundMe, and they don't take it down, and then they'll take down just some random dude who's trying to just make some money for some random ass thing. I mean, it's, I don't know.
So after an extensive review and investigation by Patreon's Trust and Safety team, we have in fact...
So is this dude wearing a fake beard? What's going on here? Because that does not look like a real beard. That looks fake. He looks like he's wearing a wizard costume.
Unfortunately determined that Bricks and Mini...
The question is, how is that even possible? Shit.
Figs
Shit.
can stuff it. We're keeping Ben's page up.
Oh, hell yeah.
If Bricks and Minifigs doesn't like that, they can sue us. Patreon out.
So
hell yeah.
That's kind of epic, but I
That's
feel like
badass.
Patreon's CEO could have stood up for quite a few more things, to be honest with you guys. I feel like freedom of speech is really important beyond just the Lego thing.
True.
But anyways, corporate starts floating around.
Especially, hot take, especially as the last bastion of freedom of speech. We really, really need to be fucking hardcore about it. We really do.
Genuinely unhinged claims, like their factoid that Ben threatened to burn the building down, bomb it, and shoot the people inside of it.
Basically, this Bricks and Minifigs company has nonstop been making fake bomb threats,
I love the pink suit.
fake fire threats, fake murder threats in my name that I'm going to murder them. The only problem is, obviously, these are all fake threats. I would never do something like that.
Timeline here is the part
I don't
that-
know, dude. It does seem like a pretty reckless thing to do. And your name is Reckless Ben.
Gets a little bit confusing. There are 2 arrests. The first when he first tried to serve Johnson, and the second at the Airbnb. They didn't all happen in the middle of this, scandal going on a national scale. They happened back on March 10th and 11th, months before the story was even released and went viral in late May. Officially, Ben was charged with stalking and targeted residential picketing over the run-ins at Johnson's house, and Johnson got a protective order against him on May 20th. If you stack on disorderly conduct and trespassing, and Ben is suddenly looking up to 5 years in prison.
What the fuck? Holy crap.
He said there's a no bail warrant out for him, which is why, but by his account, he is now in Mexico, staying ahead of it until something is done about the police in American Fork. So he's literally fled.
The only
Damn, dude. Holy shit.
thing the police department could tell me is that I do have a warrant, but this time the judge approved it that I will have no bail. And I am now a physical threat to Josh.
Reckless enough? Yeah. This is actually crazy. This judge who's doing this needs to go to jail. This judge who's doing this needs to be disbarred and sent to jail for 25 years to life. Really. I really feel that way. If you're a judge and you are doing this kind of shit, and you are actively harming the citizenry, you should be so much more liable, because to be a judge, you should not just be a normal dude. To be a judge, you should be better than the average person. That's kind of the point. You have good judgment, You have better judgment than the average person, hence being a judge. So if you do this fucked up bullshit, I think that you should get the maximum penalty for it. I think that we need to hold way more judges accountable for their bad actions. It's crazy. There was another person I watched the entire thing. I see they tried 3 times. Holy crap. Dude, this is crazy.
The the person the police are protecting. So basically, at any moment now, I could be arrested without bail for some mystery crime. There really is only one thing that I can do now.
Well, I'm in Mexico now. The police have no authority here.
He should have had his court date by the time.
And I say that because case did not come to the right judge. Yes, dude. Judges are... I think the reason judges so brazenly break the law is because there's no repercussions for it. People, every human in existence works on two principles. They work on the principles of repercussion and the principles of incentive. So you have to incentivize people with proper shit, you know, to make them want to do the right thing by giving them money or power or whatever for doing the right thing. But you also have to have consequences for them doing the wrong thing. And the more incentives you get, the worse the consequences should be if you fail. That's, I mean, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills because that's so obvious.
Time that we're recording this, but instead he's out of the country, represented pro bono by lawyers who say his civil rights are being trampled, which I would tend to agree, not as a lawyer or anything, but I feel like, man, you just gotta be able to talk about stuff and expose people for doing stuff bad, and they shouldn't.
I'm gonna come out right now and say this, and I'm not, this is not alleged or anything. Bricks and Minifigs, the corporation, are scam artists and a horrible corporation. The judge who did this deserves to be in jail, and the ex-owners of the franchise are also pieces of shit. I am saying this as nothing alleged. I am making a statement, and I am posting this to YouTube for everybody to see. Sue me. And suck my dick.
Be able to manipulate the law to f you over. It's just that simple. There needs to be more integrity. We need more integrity. We need more integrity from all sides.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Throw the book at me. Because guess what? Me and him are bros, dude. Me and the book, throw the book at me. We're bros, dude. Fuck it.
It can't just be when it's your side that we need integrity to help. It has to be just integrity.
Yeah. How you gonna throw the book at a book, dude? It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, dude. I love law books, man. They're always cool. They're always chill with me. What I hate is dictionaries.
Unity as a whole. I see a lot of people coming together over this, and I really like it. That's why I wanted to cover it on my channel, is because it's like everybody can agree on this. There's a very small group of people who are like, well, no, maybe he shouldn't have done that. It's like, okay, you want to steal from an old guy then? Okay, then you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're just a idiot. You're a rabble rouser. And
not only is someone who says that an idiot, they're also just a piece of shit.
And yeah, what you say is meaningless. And you've seen a lot of footage in this video. Now, I apologize. It's a lot of story. There's body cam footage. On May 29th,
look, the reason I hate dictionaries is because every time I'm hanging out with the dictionary and I say something that's just slightly wrong, they have to stop me and go, actually, I can't deal with it anymore, dude. Dictionaries piss me off. They're always like that, dude. Now with thesaurus, I hang out with the thesaurus all day, dude. Fucking my boy, dude, he's pretty much Eminem because he's such a good thesaurus.
American Fork Police Department put out its own statement insisting it only released the body cam footage to be transparent and that it was enforcing stalking and harassment law, not taking side in a business dispute. The chief of the police, Cameron Paul, said the same thing. Nothing to do with Legos. This is not an endorsement of anyone. The problem is the footage doesn't back them even remotely. Chunks of the video and the audio were redacted, and on the parts you can actually see, the officers are very clearly deferring to Johnson, Best, and McNeff.
So this is the original footage I got with the redactions in, and this is the new unredacted footage.
I don't believe that you should be able to redact footage that doesn't show like a horrible physical crime. I always think this is bullshit. You should not be able to redact footage unless it's something that clearly should not be seen by the public. And I'm not going to give examples, but I'm sure you guys can understand what I mean. You know, the truly heinous shit, you should obviously redact that. But anything that's like, oh, well, this person got arrested and it was on body cam or something like that, no, show it. Show it. Fuck the redactions.
I'm lining him up.
This is the age of information and transparency.
Up, and I'm going to keep only the redacted parts to see what they were actually saying.
It doesn't take a trained eye to understand that their official statement is in dissonance with the actual video footage, which is classic. But in Ben's own response, he's very fair about it, I would say, a lot fairer than the average person.
No, I'm fully for transparency. I don't believe in redactions. I really don't. Most of the redactions I see are clearly just to protect the wealthy and powerful. That's all it ever is. A redaction is almost never to protect the innocent. It's always to protect the powerful.
He says he doesn't even think the officer was trying to dislocate his shoulder. It was an old injury that already made it prone to popping out, but either way, his shoulder was dislocated. What Ben cannot get past is why SWAT was sent to the Airbnb over Legos in the first place. And the answer, which is buried in the official statement, is that the Airbnb's owner told police the sets were there. So a department that officially swears it has no stake in the Salem dispute went and raided a man over stolen Legos tied to that exact dispute. I have no idea.
All right, but to be fair, all they need to do is find like literally one Lego in the trash can outside, and they can do this if the person who's renting. So, for example, when I moved to North Carolina when I was 19, and on the 5th day I was there, we got raided by the police because my roommate was selling pot, which was illegal in North Carolina at the time, and he got in trouble, he went to jail, whatever. The reason they found out that he was selling pot, the reason they were able to actually come in is because he got narked on by somebody, and then they went to the trash can and they found a sandwich baggie with a single little flake of weed in it. That allowed them to come in and burst through the door with ski masks and machine guns and throw us to the ground. I mean, dude, I'm talking... I was sitting on the couch when this happened. My 5th day there. I think it's a joke, because I see the door bust open and 20 dudes with machine guns and ski masks come running in. So I start laughing. I literally just started laughing at them. They didn't like that. They picked my ass up over their head and slammed me down onto the hardwood floor. Which there's no basement in this house, so it was just fucking ground that I hit. I pissed my pants and everything. I'm not even gonna lie about it, dude. I straight up pissed my pants the second I hit the ground. All the piss in my body left me.
Seems really confusing, but maybe we're missing some context. Then on June 1st, they redacted the footage of Ben's arrest, specifically scrubbing the parts that backed his side right before the chief gave his statement. And one more thing the leaked footage showed is that the Airbnb owner personally knew one of the arresting officers, a guy named Adamson. Amon, Joseph, Brigham. Mormons! Get you some of this, Mormons. How about that? Twilight Fusion, Echelon collab, Twilight Fusion. You know, it's not coffee. I think it is from green coffee beans, so it's not. I don't think it's Mormon friendly. If you do want to try some candy, though, I have my own.
The cults are to protect the police because they are stupid and talk too openly. True.
In small business, it's called Sour Boys. We have delicious real fruit gummies. We make 4 new flavors every single month. The flavors come from natural sources, and we have 35% less sugar than a leading brand like
I do kind of want to try this out.
Patch Kids, come on now. We had belts for a long time. We're reworking our formula and our machinery and where we're gonna actually make them at because of these are gluten-free. The belts have...
Never mind, I don't want to try them out. That's gross.
Have a gluten allergy, so we need to separate them completely so we can, take the next step into being a more official business. But either way, go try some Sour Boys at sour.gg. It means the world to me. It's one of my favorite things that I do on a consistent basis, and I get to do it.
Dog, I don't know why people be getting rid of gluten, It's like, shit, dude. Men, we never have any of these issues. You know what we do have? We just have unexplained diarrhea for 20 years and then we die.
Do it with my wife and best friends and family. And you guys are the reason that it's gotten this far. So anyways, thank you to my own business for sponsoring this video. Go to sour.gg. Now the footage, how did it even get out? Here's how it got out. A Reddit user found a full archive of the unredacted body and dash cam from Ben's arrest sitting on the department's own records, which was just dropped online with no press release, no announcement, no nothing or anything like that. Ben says it was a hack, but the department insists that they released it on purpose, which would be a really bizarre way to do it. But either way, it is out now and it is bad because in it, Johnson insists over and over that he is the victim, that he is being stalked, that there's no lawsuit, that none of this is on him, and he brings up his scared kid. He says it's illegal to impersonate a process server, which is a person who handles you a legal document, and the cops nod along. the whole time.
What?
Do you think a process server would show up with a guy that's been harassing a YouTuber to serve papers in Utah?
Josh knows that if he gets served these papers, it's going to be really bad for him. And at this point, it seems like he's willing to make up any story he can to get us arrested before he gets served these.
It really does look that way. It looks like this dude is using the full force of his connections to protect himself here.
Papers.
So why are the American Fork Police this locked in on the side of a Lego franchise? Ben's got the answer, but to understand why any of this got big enough to even matter, you have to understand genuinely how massive this has become over the last few weeks. Basically, everyone has heard of this story now, and the single biggest reason is because of Moist Critical, real name Charlie.
I don't really, this is cool that he did this. I don't really like Moist Critical. He's just kind of annoying and boring. His voice just kind of makes me angry. I don't know. Something about Moist Critical just actually upsets me. That's probably a hot take, but they lost so much. Oh, they for sure did. But Moist Critical, I get it. People like him. I can't with him.
One of the largest commentary channels on the platform who picked it up and put a megaphone on it. But also, Ben's video was going very viral off the bat. Also, CoffeeZilla is about to post a main channel video on it, I believe. But from there, it went fully mainstream with major outlets, international coverage, and so on. Which is genuinely strange because Ben has done far more dangerous work than this with like McKamey Manor and Lucifer Valentine.
You know why it is, though? I'm thinking about it now. It's the same problem I have with like every single commentary channel. It's that as soon as they run out of fun videos to watch, they just get so hyper political that it just and I don't mind talking about my political values and stuff to a certain extent, But once you get so caught up in the whole left versus right or the whole cult of personality and all that, you lose me there. You really lose me. If you're like die hard, I support this guy no matter what he does type of person, I just think you're dumb, really. I don't believe in any person, I believe in ideas. That's how I feel. I believe in ideas. I don't believe in or against any actual one person most of the time.
And those are way higher risk investigations. This one is somehow the one that got him arrested, injured, and chased out of the country. And it's about Legos. Are you tugging me right now? Are you pulling on me a little too hard?
What?
Are you jelking me?
I also don't feel like somebody who's been famous for their entire adult life and never actually had to work for something for real has the capability to put themselves in the shoes of the average American or the average citizen of whatever country they're from. I really don't feel like somebody who's just been rich for their whole adult life has any perspective at all or any really valuable insight into the political world besides for what it's like to be a rich person, They're so delulu that if they think someone will ever will side with the company, yes, they are delusional if they think people will side with a company. It's absolutely crazy. Nobody likes companies. Not one person likes a company, not even the people working for them.
Are you joking me right now, dude? After the footage leaked, Bricks and Minifigs posted again their version, their original story, walking everyone back to where they just started. Nobody really cares where they started, to be fair, but what matters is what their own timeline pretty much owns up to. Up to 2023, it lines up with everyone else's, and by their own records...
The only political I believe is the belief I hold is burn the heretic, kill the mutant, purge the unclean for the emperor. Hell yeah, I'm with that, dude. Hell yeah, the god emperor of mankind lives on, dude. Did you see the newest cinematic where he twitched and he blinked his eye? I'm just saying, dude, the Emperor's he's moving again. The Emperor's moving again. That's crazy. Oh my god, yeah, he moved. Yeah, just barely. He just barely moved, but he fucking moved, yeah. It's crazy. Oh, depend on who's the Emperor. There's only one Emperor. There's only one Emperor, and he was and is everything and all, The end times are coming, dude. And so what the theory is that he's gonna come back as because what the Chaos Gods fear more than anything is that the Emperor is actually the 5th Chaos God. And that's what people are saying is going to happen, is he's going to come back as the 5th Chaos God. And he's not going to be some nice dude. He's going to fucking come back as a crazy god of destruction. My entire body just went fuzzy. Wait, so the Emperor can barely move? The Emperor has been basically dead for like 10,000 years. He hasn't moved an inch, and he's been hooked up to a throne that sucks the souls out of psychers, which are magic people, 1,000 a day to keep him alive. So that he can power the throne and allow people to use the warp. Yeah. When they call the Emperor the Corpse Emperor, they really mean it. It's very literal. Yes, yeah. He's actually just a corpse on a throne, but he just blinked. Also, I love the thought that the tech priest just saw him dying and just started hooking him up to all this shit because he has that robot eye. Like, why would you should not be putting a robot eye on the Emperor, but he has one.
Brian was owed at least $100,000 before the consignment split ever even enters the math. They tried to move to pin everything on the previous owners of the franchise, Crystal, claiming she actually owed them.
I think that, so here's my prediction for Warhammer, by the way. I think that the Emperor is going to come back, and at the same time, Sanguinius is going to come back. I think Sanguinius is going to come back, and he's going to fight the Emperor, and that's going to cause the entire, and the Chaos Gods are going to get involved, and that's going to cause the entire reality to end and reset like it did with Warhammer Fantasy. That's why many Chaos Marines are the way they are. They don't all worship Chaos, but some just believe the Emperor of Man had fallen now. Yeah, true. That is actually... And some of them got tricked into it, too. Like, a lot of people in the main force during the Horus Heresy, they didn't even... Like, they literally thought that they were fighting against heretics. They thought that they were fighting against people who were trying to usurp the Emperor. And it turns out they were the usurpers. I love that. Like, look at the fall of the Dark Angels. Yes, exactly. Well, God, I didn't make strangle me. Oh, yes. Fucking, it's gonna be so good, though. I really think that the Dark Angels are gonna get their Primarch back, and it's gonna go so crazy. It's gonna go so crazy.
$200,000 in unpaid royalties, so they simply...
You can't bring back Sanguinius without bringing back the Emperor, because Sanguinius is the perfect Emperor's child.
Took the business instead, which is conveniently why Brandon Best showed up at night for the keys. And they still claim there was never any consignment conversation, which we have...
I'm not a Slanesh demon yet. I don't know, Harmony, the way you talk sometimes. You had me wondering.
Footage of, you freaks. Like, what is the deal with that?
Well, that's not true. That doesn't exist. That's AI. He put that through Google Gemini.
See, I'd like to think that if I was a Chaos Demon, I would be a Zinchian, but I know that I'd probably be closer to a Nurgle.
Nah.
Give me tentacles, Slanesh, then we'll talk.
He retweeted one of Elon's tweets, and he put that through Grok, I bet.
Are you joking me? Then things start to get a little pointed, I guess you could say. I don't really have any points around here, but bricks and mini.
Yeah, I think I'd be Nurgle, to be fair. Yeah. I'm just not a super clean person. I don't really care about, like, order or anything like that, so... Yeah.
It starts arguing the footage everyone saw is only partial, and that the full version would show Crystal handed some of the collection back.
And honestly, you know, if you do go with Nurgle, you can never actually feel the pain of sickness. So that's pretty cool, you know? You are sick all the time, but you can't feel it. So that's pretty tight.
To Brian. So in other words, Brian secretly has the Legos. Now Brian says that's flatly untrue, that he has nothing that they're talking about or asking about, but it's about what that accusation sets up.
He does
Corporate
care.
says Brian has the sets. Ben drives to Utah. The Airbnb owner tells police that Ben has the sets. A judge signs a warrant. SWAT raids Ben, finds nothing because there was nothing to find. So yeah, the department that is...
I wonder if you can be held liable for that as the Airbnb owner. For saying that you know that the bricks and minifigs stuff is there and then it's not there, can you be held liable for that? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
Taking sides is the one that kicks in, the door to find the Legos. I don't know if they kicked in a door. I don't want to be sued for libel.
Well, if the Airbnb guy told them about it, he for sure gave the cops the key before they, as they showed up or something. They probably just walked right in.
Or slander or whatever the... And now...
And if they have warrant, by the way, they don't even have to knock. They can just walk their ass in. With the house in North Carolina, they just kicked the fucking door down. The door was open. The door wasn't even closed all the way, let alone locked. It was slightly open to let some air in, and they still kicked that bitch. They will say they moved in the last second. Yeah, true. Fair enough. Yeah, you guys knew we were coming, so you got rid of it. Yeah.
Now, CEO
Fair.
Eamon McNeff suddenly wants to talk. Same man who said he'd give everything back if Brian would just apologize, now wants to sit down, go through the spreadsheets and the point of sale data and make him whole, while still pinning the entire thing on Crystal. He even dangles dropping Brian as a defendant from the lawsuit, then
I don't think that Crystal is in the right, and I don't think that Bricks and Minifigs is in the right. I feel like both of these parties are bad actors. I really do. This is just my opinion at this point because of I'm not really that involved in the situation, but I do feel like both parties of Crystal and her husband and then Bricks and Minifig, I feel like they're both kind of scumbags. Really. They're both fighting over this old man's money. And it doesn't belong to either of them.
Then make sure to mention that Brian's raised $350,000 on his GoFundMe, which brings us back to the Mormon connection, the Mormon conspiracy, all right? I apologize, friendly, kind Mormons who love...
Yeah, well, they thought they could bully them out, and then they got a bunch of money for it, and then they were like, oh shit, well, they actually have the money to fight this lawsuit. This isn't good.
Bricks and Minifigs, and thinks that old people shouldn't be scammed. I know there's a lot of you out there, all right? I've seen the clips. The pro-reckless Ben, it seems like a Mormon thing to not do this. It seems like a Mormon thing to do good business.
Yeah.
I do business with...
It does really feel un-Mormon-like. These people, I feel like, are not actual Mormons, and they're taking advantage of the system that they grew up in, because I have never met a Mormon that acted like this in my entire life. And like I said, I've known quite a few Mormons. I've never met one like this.
Mormons, and they're good people. Just saying. At least I think they're Mormons. Oh, I never asked. I just assume everyone who's nice is Mormon.
True.
Literally. The bones of the Mormon connection are just the facts. Bricks and Minifigs is headquartered in Utah. McNeff is LDS. So are Best, Johnson, the responding cops, and the judge. McNeff and Johnson, it turns out, go back more than 20 years, and two of them served as Mormon missionaries together in 2004. A couple of teenagers preaching side by side. American Fork itself is about 80 to 85% Mormon, and that's the soil the Mormon mafia theory grows in, my friends. So whatever leaked the footage, a hack or an accident, it pretty much flipped everything on its head for Bricks and Minifigs. The same day, June 4th, corporate announced it was cutting ties completely with the Salem franchise and with Brennan Best and Joshua Johnson. Completely done with them. They tied it.
But, didn't they put them in power? Aren't they the guys who chose these guys?
Directly to the investigation into Brian's collection, which they still frame as an unauthorized private side deal corporate never knew about, but corporate, according to the footage we have, corporate did know. And McNeff finally goes on record, he said, "We've been asking for documentation for a long time. We'd asked Mr. Mansell and others and not received enough to give us a clear picture until recently. Thanks to internal and external operations, assistants, and those who continue to stand with us, we finally have enough to proceed with the resolution." That's my best Utah accent. And then he said straight to Brian, "We continue our offer to sit down with you and prepare to discuss dropping the lawsuit against you. Let's go through the spreadsheets and point of sale data together and ensure you're made whole."
POS doesn't stand for point of sale. It stands for piece of shit.
So listen to that or whatever, read that again, because it seems like a whole lot of bullshit to me. It seems like there's at least a couple of things in there that smell like bullshit. They claim they never had enough information after Brian spent over a year trying to get his property back from them. Then there were the body cam leaks, and suddenly they have enough information just, magically, and also suddenly they're being gracious just magically. That's kind of weird. They're still dangling a sit down to discuss dropping the lawsuit that they chose to file over spreadsheets that they control and could also have altered, by the way.
Oh, you know what? All right, I just thought of something in my head. It has literally nothing to do with what I just heard or what I'm thinking about. But I used to watch these guys back in the day, a gaming channel called Neebs Gaming, fun gaming channel. And I pop into their Twitch, and I'm watching their Twitch channel, and they just do not interact at all with the chat. At all, dude. It was honestly like just they won't even acknowledge that you said something unless you give them $20. Like, I went from respecting these guys and loving their content to one Twitch stream going, these guys are kind of gross. Like, Honestly, I know this is a total tangent, but it just like so they said something, right? They said like they were like, oh, what would be some funny movies to put ducks in instead of people or whatever. And then for the next hour and a half, and I'm not kidding you, for the next hour and a half, everybody was coming up with different names for duck movies, and it was funny as hell. And they didn't mention one of them. They didn't read any comments until someone put down a $20 comment, and they were like, "Oh, that's funny!" Ha 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 ha. And it's like, God, you guys suck. You guys actually suck. I hate this. Oh, I mean, not nice. Yeah, 100% agree. Yeah, it's fucked. It made me lose all my respect for those guys 100% of the way. Just like, it's crazy how you can have one interaction with people. I guess it's true, like, never meet your heroes or even people you admire. Because that was one of the most disappointing live streams I ever watched in my life. It was just kind of gross, for real. It felt like a scam.
And, I'm not implying that they did.
And honestly, some of the people, you watch a YouTuber for years, and then you get this like connection with them, the pseudo connection, and you want them to respond to your chat, so you have to pay them money. Like, it's honestly, they know what they're doing. There's no way they don't know what they're doing. They're purposely building this up to be like some weird, like, pay us for an interaction, pay us for our friendship sort of deal, and it's gross and weird, and I don't like it. It's why I try my best to acknowledge absolutely everyone. Sometimes it takes me a moment, but I never ever want to get to the point where I don't do that. Same. And I mean, if I had like thousands of people in my chat and it was just like popping off, I wouldn't be able to read every chat at that point, but I would still want to like interact with the chat and read it as like things pop up that I see. But they weren't even doing that, dude. I mean, they were just literally not even acknowledging that the chat existed and just kind of talking to each other about nothing. Like, I don't know. It was gross.
They could have. They could have. They could have. Everything seems a little too strange when it's in their court. It seems a little funky. Makes me want to run around tugging on it. I'm sorry.
What the fuck,
Stop
dude?
saying that. But that is...
He does say that a lot. He says all the time that he's trying to tug on his wiener. All the time, dude.
Unconfirmed, rumor, not fact. As of recording this, the more information could come out. So, how does this end? Right now, it doesn't end at all. Ben is being represented from Mexico in...
Although I will say, the most comfortable position to be in is with your hand wrapped around your wiener. You don't even have to be doing anything with it. Just grabbing your own dick. It does feel comfortable.
Absentia, and his civil trial with bricks and minifigs is still living and alive. And even after publicly offering to drop Brian from the lawsuit, that same lawsuit is trying to claw back the money raised around all of this, an accounting and disgorgement of profits reaching the GoFundMe, the Patreon, the ad revenue, all of that, in which that fund had crossed $450,000, and as of this recording, it is gone.
Yeah, and honestly, Harmony, I would say you do a really good job of that too, especially because, like, your chat does move really fast a lot of the time. Like, there's some things that I just can't even imagine keeping up with, and you do. Like, honestly, I'm pretty impressed by your stream. And I think I would be way more impressed if I could understand what you said. I'm not British, so it's hard for me to understand you sometimes, but I'm getting there.
The GoFundMe for the Mansells has been pulled down entirely, reportedly tied to that same court order with the donation set to be refunded. So whether bricks and minifigs is some small cog in a big, evil Mormon cabal machine running on stolen Legos, we'll probably never get a full answer. There's a lawsuit, court order in place. Ben can't even talk about it anymore without risking the case and the money raised for the Mansells along with it. And there's a ton of collateral damage with the entire thing. I mean, Bricks and Minifigs is a corporate entity with a bunch of franchisees. Not all the franchisees are represented by the corporate entity and vice versa. It sucks because it's such a small world, and there's probably not a lot of good coming to the franchisees who own these stores around. It really sucks. Yeah. It's a bad scenario.
From what I understand, though, it does kind of seem like most of these franchisees are kind of complicit with bad behavior, I guess I could say.
I wish they would have just...
allegedly.
...sucked it up and solved it immediately. Like, I get digging your heels in and using your...
See, this is called the Streisand effect. This is what they didn't think about and what they failed to recognize would happen. The Streisand effect... So, if you guys don't know, The Streisand effect happened, and it's literally named after Barbara Streisand. So, back in the day, she had a house, right? She had a house on a cliffside. And everybody, and this one guy took like an aerial picture of it and put it on his website and was like, yeah, look, this is a cool picture of Barbara Streisand's house. Let's check it out. And she got it. She sued them. She tried to take it down, all that stuff. And what it did was make it to where now everybody just wants to know what Barbara Streisand's house looks like. And so it ended up getting to the point. Oops, I moved that. It ended up getting to the point to where now everybody wanted to see Barbara Streisand's house. And so everybody did see Barbara Streisand's house because she tried to take it down. If you try to take something down, then you will always end up with the exact opposite effect. You will always end up with the exact opposite effect. That's why I said earlier, the only thing you can do in a controversy is to pretend it's not real. Is to just act like it never happened and never acknowledge it. Otherwise, you lose every single time. South Park with Mecha Streisand was one of the best things to come from that. True. He did not know whose house it is at. Okay, word. Fair enough. But he posted a badass house and then she got it taken down. I didn't even know that part. I thought he knew whose house it was. But so, okay, yeah, he didn't even know whose house it was. He just posted a badass house, and now everybody knows it's Barbara Streisand's house. That's even funnier. That adds layers to it. But that's crazy to me that it took an actual, a real-life example for anybody to figure that out. I feel like that's really obvious.
Your legal weight or whatever, I guess, but come on, man. It's not the Mormon way. I don't think. But yeah, bricks and minifig stores across the country, just completely ordinary, unconnected franchises that have nothing to do with any of this, are getting buried in harassment and death threats. One in Sacramento had to shut down for an entire week, and Ben himself has told people to knock it off. The franchisees aren't the villains, but obviously people get lost in the sauce.
No, I don't agree here. I do kind of feel like the franchisees are also the villains. From everything I've heard about this story so far, they just kind of seem like people who were trying to insert themselves and not take accountability for their issues, and there's a lot of problems with the franchisees as well. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like that lady and her husband were totally clean of everything. They definitely seem shady as well. Not for every store owner. No. I'm talking about specifically that franchisee who ran that store, and not the rest of them. I don't know anything about the rest of them. They could all be great people. They could all be pieces of shit. That I have no idea about.
People's crazy. Big and minifig. Oh! Maybe you shouldn't put that in the video.
Dog, did he just point a gun at the camera? I don't think you're allowed to do that.
You might notice I look slightly different.
Oh wait, no, you are. I just don't think you're allowed to if someone's behind the camera.
And I'm wearing the same clothes, but I still look kind of different. That's because I recorded this after. This story is developing. Coffee dropped an hour-long video on June 10th, 4 million views in one day, and he didn't just react and regurgitate like what I'm doing.
Dog,
he got
that lighting, by the way, sorry, I have to go back
views
here.
In one day. And
wow, dude. I'm sorry, oompaville. You really don't ever do this lighting again, bro. Don't ever do this lighting again. He looks like he went from 30 years old to 56 years old just from the lighting alone. Like, he looks like he has gray hair. You can see all the lines on his face. Oh my god, dude, lighting is key. Holy crap. Yeah, it's one of the rules of gun safety. Never point it at something you're not willing to destroy. Exactly, aka another human. Yep. You only ever point your gun once you're ready to actually shoot it. That's it. Camera is fine, though. Well, yeah, no, the camera's great. It's just the lighting in there is fucking horrendous.
He didn't just
oh my god,
react and regurgitate like what I'm doing. He got both sides on camera. He talked to CEO Eamon McNeff of
Maybe it's just because he's so good at his lighting and like all of his production usually, that whenever it is slightly off, it's so jarring.
Some minifigs.
Because his oompaville has great production value. This is one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, and has been for years.
And his brother and COO, Matt.
His journey down the... God, I pause it like every 1 second. I'm going to have to go back 10 seconds. His journey down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories has been so fun to ride along with as a viewer, because his initial conspiracy theory videos a couple of years ago were just like, yeah, I'm just going to have fun with it, and, you know, I don't really believe any of these, and they're all stupid, And then, like, 2 or 3 years in, he's like, all right, so this one's totally real, and I believe it 100%, guys. It's been a lot of fun to watch. Or maybe it's a additional video that, and he did not care enough to make it. True. Yeah, true. True. I mean, it was probably like a last second, like, recording thing that he did, and he probably recorded it during a different time of the day. He records, see, this is how you know I'm a fan. He records in his garage, and his garage has, like, heating. It gets a little overheated, and it has, like, bug issues, so he probably is, like, having the windows open or something, you know. Who knows what's going on there.
Talked to CEO Eamon McNeff of Bricks and Minifigs and his brother and COO Matt McNeff, and what he found makes things even more complicated, guys. Unfortunately, firstly, the value. Working from Crystal's own inventory sheet, he put the collection at around $107,000, not $200,000. And when he pressed Ben on where the $200,000 number came from, Ben admitted it was a nice even number that will grab attention, which is totally true. So
yeah,
the
actually though, it looks like he set all up in an actual office at this point. I learned that info like 2 years ago. So when he said it, so you know. It could be very different now.
Primary figure driving the entire national insane story is slightly exaggerated. So Bricks and Minifigs doesn't owe the old man $200,000, but only $107,000. Okay, I've changed my mind. They're the good guys now. Just kidding, by the way. There's even more information to.
That's the other thing. So these original franchisee owners, I do know about this part. The whole $200,000 thing was a complete lie from the start. These people were falsifying the actual value of the Legos by almost double. They almost double put the value of it during their advertisements. So the original franchisees of this store were actually false advertising and being scumbags from the very start of the story. So everybody needs to keep that into perspective too. These were not good above board people running this store before the corporate came in and fucked them over. These were not good people. Yeah, the same reason Ben did. Yeah. I mean, it's to make it big. Yeah, fair enough.
That. More information that genuinely matters for Brian and the entire situation.
But they came out when they originally released the $200,000 statement. Yeah, it was an average, like they got the Bricks and Minifigs and then put out an advertisement saying, we got these Legos worth $200,000. Come to our store and buy them. That's false advertising. $200K worth of Legos. It does make for a good advertisement and a good header, you know, but I don't know. It just feels like, because Ben can say it because that was on the advertisement. That's what they advertised it as. So I don't feel like it's nearly as bad for Ben to say it because that's literally what the price was advertised as. But that wasn't the price of the Legos at all. The true scumbags in that situation are the franchisee owners who lied about the price and everything, who falsely advertised, which, by the way, is illegal in America to false advertise. It is illegal to false advertise.
As a whole. CoffeeZilla traced the money.
Also, it is actually illegal to overvalue something on purpose by paying a person to like come in and give you a beneficial quote on something, basically to be like, oh yeah, this thing that's actually that should be worth $20, it's actually worth $100. That's illegal. You can't do that. Like literally. That's what Donald Trump got sued over more than anything. And I mean, I'm pretty sure he didn't get in any trouble for it. But still, the point remains that is illegal. You can't come in and have somebody say this is worth more than it actually is. The excuse was they evaluate at max sell price. Yeah, and maybe they could legally get around it. Maybe one time in the history of the world it sold for that. A way people do get around that is a rich person might take a collector's item. Let's say there's 10 of a collector's item, and then he'll sell it to his buddy, who he gave the money to sell it for at an exorbitant price, and now the price for that item is canonically that value. So now whenever his collection mysteriously burns down, instead of getting $200,000 for his collection of art, he's getting $200 million. from the insurance.
Audit, and about $24,000 of the collection sold before the takeover, and Brian was paid about $17,000 of that. But the store's sales data showed way more moved through than ever made it onto the books. Wow. 98 items were just sitting in layaway that were never reconciled, and after all the accounting, only between $10,000 and $20,000 was
good summary of art dealers. Yeah, the art world is an absolute joke. You could take one look at any modern art piece and recognize that.
Genuinely unaccounted for. So stolen, right? Not $200,000, $10,000 and $20,000.
Whenever you have the head quote unquote rebellious artist making actual government propaganda, you know that you've lost the plot when it comes to art.
Still gone and unaccounted for, basically stolen, effectively, virtually, right? I don't know for sure, but it seems like it's unaccounted for, which is not good, because that's usually what you say.
And then they go, well, why doesn't anybody want to pay for art anymore? Why doesn't anybody like artists? Why is everybody using AI? It's like, because you're all pretentious, dude. You're all fucking pretentious and full of yourself, and none of you believe in the things you say. That's why. That's fucking why. Because Billie Eilish will come up there and say that rich people are evil, and then release 10 products in a week saying that fucking... release 10 products in 1 week that are all bullshit-ass cheap products that she's way overpricing, and then say that nobody's illegal on stolen land while living on a place that was taken from Native Americans. That's where her house is. And then also having a man literally deported because he was standing outside of her house making fun of it. I mean, come on, dude. NFT monkeys were the dumbest thing in the world. That whole NFT phrase was so stupid. Or phase. It was so stupid. I hated that shit. Reminded me of a somewhat local art museum. We went from the classic art part that was packed with people into the modern art, and it was completely empty. We laughed so hard. Yeah, exactly. Because nobody wants to see modern art, because modern art, it's modern fart, dude. You could fart out a modern art piece in an instant. Jackson Pollock did irreparable damage to the art scene. Jackson Pollock was not an artist. He was a guy who splashed paint. If I'm thinking about the right guy, he was a dude who just splashed paint on a fucking canvas, and then everybody went, "Oh, he's so brilliant. Look at what he's saying." And it's like, no, fuck this guy. This guy is not an artist. He's a fucking idiot who spilled his paint can once, and now everybody thinks he's a genius. Made me lose respect for a lot of people. Yes, for real.
And something has been yoinked from you, and you don't know where it is. It's unaccounted for. Because I don't think the Mansells lost it. But to be clear, this is not a gotcha. None of this is a gotcha at all. CoffeeZilla figured Brian is likely owed somewhere between 50 and 80.
Crypto in general is just a scam. I get the idea behind it, and it'd be cool if it worked, but currency needs to be based on something real world. Yes. Yes, well, that's also why all of our currencies are bullshit right now. Because that's why we see this major inflation. Because when you have money based on an actual gold standard or a silver standard or whatever you want to base it on, then you can only have this much of that money, and you can't devalue it to a certain extent. Because then that's why you see inflation so low for so long. And then in the 50s or the 60s or whatever it was, we decided that we were going to stop doing the gold standard. And then you see inflation just skyrocket. Just absolutely go to the fucking moon. I'll stick to having some gold hidden around. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Do you know how many a millionaire Dogecoin did, or Trump coin? Oh my god. Oh my god. Dude. To buy into a cryptocurrency in the year 2026, that's what I call a stupid tax. That's what I call a stupid tax. If you buy into a cryptocurrency this year, then you deserve to lose your money. Fully deserve to lose your money. Don't get me wrong, there is money in crypto. You just scam the next person, in my opinion. Oh yeah, no, that's true. That's true. That's exactly what it is. It's the same with the art world, actually. It's the exact same with the art world. It's the bigger fool fallacy, where you're always trying to find the bigger fool. You're never actually buying something based on the value of the product. You're buying something on the promise that you can find a bigger fool than you that will pay more money than you did.
$80,000 in proceeds that did sell that he was never paid for.
If you think that way, everything is a scam. Most things are a scam. I'm gonna be honest. Most things in the modern world are a scam. I do feel that way. The valuation of some things are... It's way overdone. Way overdone. Some antiques are 100% like that too, but there is genuine collectors too. No, definitely. There for sure is. I think an easy way to probably tell that is to just look for a price spike. You know? Look at like, oh, well, this average, an item similar to this sells for $10,000. Well, why did this one just start selling for $300,000 out of nowhere? Like, that's probably a pretty easy way that, like, governments or whatever could keep track of it. Maybe not the average person.
Counted pile, the theft pile, is pretty small, but the owed pile is gigantic. So say $100,000. That's still terrifying, and that's still horrendous, and that's still evil. Through the interviews Coffee did, Bricks and Minifigs did themselves absolutely zero favors. They claimed
You can sell anything if you can make the person see the value in it. That's true. That is true. There's something to be said for that, you know? Yeah, or just ask the next person about the items. If they keep talking nonstop, they're in it for the love of the game. Yeah, true. They are. They really, yeah. I know that a lot. Actually, I was a duck collector back in the day. When I was a kid, I collected all kinds of different duck paraphernalia. I was pretty much Hugh, the dad from Jimmy Neutron. That was me as a kid. I was just running around collecting ducks. I had a brass duck collection. I had this like realistic, it was 100% realistic looking styrofoam duck that sat on my counter. I had duck plushies and all. I don't know why. I call me Mallard Luther King, dude, because I love ducks. So who will buy Grim coins to the moon? Hey, you know, I'm willing. Let's do a rug pull, bro. Let's do a rug pull. Hell yeah.
claimed no U-Haul at the store on takeover day. CoffeeZilla enhanced the footage using his high-tech computer systems, and you can clearly see that there's a U-Haul. They claimed that they were never sent a master spreadsheet.
There's the U-Haul picture Ogrim was talking about earlier. I think it was Ogrim who was saying it. I don't remember which one of you guys it was.
But he read the file's metadata out loud. It was created on Bricks and Minifigs corporate account.
Stupid ass CEO. Yeah, dude. And right there, that should have the lawsuit thrown out. That's how you know that the judge is bought and paid for. That's exactly how you know the judge is bought and paid for, because that should have the whole lawsuit thrown out right there.
EO's answer was,
"This is the first I've seen that this spreadsheet was created by Crystal."
So CoffeeZilla's investigation leans on the side of mismanagement and sloppy bookkeeping and a corporate parent that has chosen to deflect and dodge responsibility at most opportunities. Basically, they've chosen to look like a bunch of assholes, essentially. He couldn't prove anyone stole anything. There's still a bunch unaccounted for and a bunch unpaid. But it isn't just like...
That's right. Dude, also, how stupid do you have to be to go on a CoffeeZilla video? I'm sorry, dude. If CoffeeZilla ever hits me up and he goes, "Hey, man, I wanted to do an interview with you," I'm gonna be like, "No, thanks. No fucking thanks, dude." You have to be the dumbest idiot in the world to do a CoffeeZilla interview, dude, for real. Like, that CoffeeZilla's not CNN. He's not fucking Fox News. He's not any of these big corporate people who are just gonna suck you off and give you the pass. Like, he's gonna ask you the real questions, and if you look stupid, he's gonna show people.
Like a cut and dry Mormon mafia situation. All right, unfortunately, that would be way more fun. But what about the lawsuit that Bricks and Minifigs filed? Coffee told the CEO to his face that it was ridiculous and that they should stop it and drop it and roll, and nobody knows ridiculous, stupid, idiot lawsuits better than CoffeeZilla. I mean, come on, guys. So no matter what, Ben is completely right that Brian was stiffed 50 to 80 grand plus another 10 to 20 that's genuinely unaccounted for is real.
That is a good point. Honestly, there are a lot of people in the world that genuinely think, you know, they get stuck in the whole victim mentality, and everything that ever happened wrong to them in their entire life, none of it's their fault. It's all actually the world around them, you know? Fuck, dude. If I got kicked out of 30 bars, then maybe I'm the problem. Maybe it's not the bars. Maybe I'm an alcoholic, you know? Like, the delusion is strong if you have the wrong people around you. And that's actually what I feel about a lot of these large content creators, too, is they get stuck so far into their bubble that they lose perspective on the world around them, and that not everybody is a Redditor that agrees with them.
real money that a family never saw. The 200,000 number seems to be fairly exaggerated, and they definitely did not steal everything. Best case scenario, Bricks and Minifigs comes out looking evasive and like a bunch of assholes and just being bad at telling the truth on camera, but obviously being dodgy and bad at business is not the same as an organized crime theft ring run by...
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same. It's close.
The Mormons, to be honest, so yeah. We've seen what I just said repeated everywhere, including by Ben. Plenty of outlets have reported on this, but thanks to updates since this video was first recorded, we know now that the story went out as Bricks and Minifigs never showed, so Ben won by default, and the store closed the next day to dodge paying with all the small claims cases. But that isn't exactly what happened. Filing for default isn't really winning. A lot of those small claims cases just got dismissed. They had wrong defendants or they were never properly served. Coffeezilla and the legal site TechDirt both walked through it. The store did close right in the middle of all this, which is a certain tell and very sketchy, but there was no clean courtroom layup. There was a bit of factual outrunning there for sure. Another update for the American Fork Police Department and all the servings and everything like that. Chief Cameron Paul said this was not a one-paper serving, it was a multi-day pattern. They say on a March 8th delivery that Ben admitted a rubber duck delivery at Johnson's house had been staged and that he planned to forge documents so he could be trespassed off the property.
What?
They say Johnson, not corporate, called the police saying Ben was going to shoot someone. Obviously, it's just total bullshit. Then on the heroin, the breath test came back at 0. The dog did alert. They searched. They didn't find shit. Nothing was...
Yeah, and by the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but most drug dogs actually don't have amazing smelling capabilities and stuff like that. There's actually just a signal that the police will do at their hip, where they'll like do a little hand sign at their hip, that gets the dog to start barking if they really want to search your car.
Planted and on the dislocated shoulder, the officer says that Ben tensed and moved first. Of course, he says that, and that Ben never complained of pain through booking and all their, molesting him, and that the X-ray Ben posted was of the wrong shoulder. But either way, Ben himself walked it back and said it was a pre-existing injury. So, you know. Also, a Utah defense attorney with 0 dog in the fight, a fellow by the name of Steve Burton, actually thinks that Ben has real points and that the traffic stop will almost certainly be ruled unconstitutional and the search warrant was probably invalid, which that is very serious. But the same guy says the real fight is over Utah's super broad harassment laws and a sketchy warrant. So not really a massive, big, epic Mormon conspiracy, which I was hoping, guys. That's what I was praying for. So parts of how the cops handled Ben look very bad and may get thrown out, and parts of what Ben did look like exactly what those laws are sort of written to cover the harassment stuff. So both can be true at the exact same time. And one more correction, the line that Brian has nothing left is not accurate. Crystal returned a chunk of the figurines to him, over 230 minifigures and a dozen small sets, including a Cloud City set, which is really cool. Separately, Brian had made his own side deal selling.
Why did she have that stuff? How did she have that stuff? If she didn't have access to any of this stuff and that's why he wasn't able to get any of it back, and that, then how did she have access to this to give him back part of it? What? Am I missing something here?
About $12,000 of Legos to a buyer that showed up in the records as M&R Productions. That does not make Brian a villain at all.
This, by the way, this is why I say that the old franchisees are for sure sketchy too.
By the way, none of this makes any of the good guys the bad guys. It's just there's always more context, obviously. Brian is still an old man's son who is owed a dick shit load of real money, but they definitely didn't take every last brick. Also need to pump the brakes a little bit on the Mormon Mafia part, because it does, honestly, as much as I would love to just see the Mormon Mafia, that would be so awesome and so funny. It doesn't really hold up. There's definitely some...
Just a gang of people wandering around being polite.
Church stuff, levers, exercising control, that's gonna be objective.
They walk up to you and they're like, hey, buddy, I really would prefer if you didn't do things on our turf, but I mean, if you're gonna do it, that's just how it is, and we respect your right to do it as a human.
Active any human institution where there's a bunch of people in like this weird sort of brotherhood, they're definitely going to do stuff. So I'm not going to say there's not a Mormon Mafia, but the Mormons being an organized crime ring that just steals Legos and shit,
There's a small element of organized crime, but it isn't a mafia for sure. Well, yeah, I mean, it's fuck, dude. It's like to be in, let's say, the Italian mafia, you had to be Italian. But that doesn't mean that if you were Italian, you were in the mafia, you know? Like, Mafia Lego, yeah, true. Kitty, you're in the doorway again. Oh my god. It's more just people with a certain level of power agreeing.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't
true.
think that. There's not a lot of evidence there. CoffeeZilla, who did a lot of investigating and provided a lot of evidence for all of us, he came down on bad bookkeeping, not a church plot. And plenty of LDS community outlets also pushed back, which, you know, of course they would.
Well,
we investigated ourselves and found ourselves not guilty.
Yeah, I love that whole phrase, you know. It's like, yeah, we investigated it, and yeah, we don't think we did anything wrong with our internal investigation. It's like, oh yeah, big fucking surprise there, buddy. Oh crap. I guess it is mafia, but it just feels wrong to say it that way. Yeah, I just see mafia in old-timey ways, I guess. Well, I mean, mafias they paid off the police to do their bidding for them more often than they would go out and commit violence on their own. Or they would pay off judges to do stuff as well. This is actually a classic mafia move. How long before we get them roaming the streets and robbing rival Lego stores? Yeah, dude, bricks and minifigs going out and fucking using the police to go and steal bricks from other places. Paid police, check. Pay the judge, check. Yep.
There's a Mormon mafia, by the way. So, one more correction immediately after stating what I just stated. You may have heard from me that the GoFundMe was taken down. It was pulled June 9th, which is when I recorded this, but it was restored the next day, and it's sitting around $457,000, and Bricks and Minifigs has gone on record denying that they ever tried to seize it. Quote, "At no point did we make any legal attempt to seize the Mansell family GoFundMe account." So, nobody's grabbing the donations today. But even though they said that on record, their lawsuit asks for disgorgement of profits, and that explicitly reaches the GoFundMe, the Patreon, and the ad money from all this stuff. So if they win...
Yeah, Murder Inc. was like 12 dudes. You know, they had guys under them, but the 12 guys just got away with shit for so fucking long, dude. They just got away with shit for so long compared to all of their contemporaries. I mean, sure, at the end of the day, they ended up losing, you know, as most criminals do. But they got away with this shit for so long compared to their contemporaries.
And it's all on the table. So that seems like they do want it. So I'm not really sure what the deal is really with that. Disgorgement is a great fun word. That's a pretty cool deal there. Comment down below what your most favorite great fun word is.
Yep.
It's also
it's always one guy in the end. It's that's what it always ends up being too. Yep. It's the fucking pussy bompanceros of the world, you know? Getting caught with something that'll get them in trouble and selling their brothers down the river. I remember watching a documentary about it. Yeah, it's crazy. And you know what's even crazier is if they didn't do that, then they would probably end up getting a really light sentence and getting away and being able to keep living their crazy criminal life. I think it's called Murder Inc. Oh, word, hell yeah. But it's always one guy who gets too scared and sells everybody out. But if he just would have kept going strong, then he would have, the whole organization would have continued going up. That's always how it goes with these criminal organizations.
Restraining order signed May 28th by a judge.
Because sure, you might get a 20-year prison sentence, but your mafia buddies are going to get the judge to get that reduced to a year and a half with good behavior. So you spend a year and a half in jail and you get out, and then they set you up big time for having been a good boy and protecting the group, you know? Like,
judge named Tony ordering Ben to take down the videos and stay 1,000 yards from the owners. That is the gag that's been put out, and that's why Ben put out the 102-second clip saying he can't release part 3 or even name the company without risking jail. There's a hearing in late June, plus a separate criminal date around July 1st, and at the end of the
a year and a half of eating lobster with your own private room and guards to protect you. That too. Yeah, and then everybody inside of the prison shows you the just like reverence. Shows you actual reverence. You have a TV in your cell, like you have a phone that you have access to constantly. The system was wild. Yes. Yeah. But this one guy, he couldn't take the heat, you know, and that's how it always goes with every single criminal organization. And it's funny to think about. how like solidarity, loyalty, and brotherhood will help you get farther in life than anything else, but only if the person next to you has the same mindset. Because if they don't have the exact same mindset, then they will drag you down like a bucket of crabs.
The day, the company sucks balls. I mean, let's be real, guys. It's not a purely clean morality play, no proven $200,000 crazy heist, no insane proven Mormon mafia, no epic clean courtroom wins, no cleanliness really anywhere at all. But what there is an 83-year-old man and his family that are genuinely owed between $50 and let's say $100,000 because the 10 to 20 unaccounted for, that they were owed that. They were never paid. And a company, a corporate entity that is run by Mormons, instead of just cutting a check, deflected, contradicted itself, dug in, dug out, dug back in, dug back out, it's really confusing. And then they sued the very people it says that it wants to make whole. So hopefully they retract all that.
Well, they said they want to make them whole, but they spelled it wrong. See, what they meant was they want to make them whole, H-O-L-E, not W-H-O-L-E. You know, they want to put a hole in them. They want to fuck them over. They want to ruin them. They're trying to make them whole, but not whole, you know? Sad world, yeah, all because some dude really likes Star Wars Legos. Yeah, for real. There's always one guy trying to take advantage of the next guy, and it really is a sad world for that. I hate money. Yeah, I mean, I love money, but I hate what it does to people. Honestly. That's why we need protections. Like, that's why the libertarian perspective is always a foolish one. I think that's the right one I'm thinking of. Because when you leave companies up to their own mechanics or whatever, when you let companies do whatever they want, they will always, always, always pick the worst route possible and fuck over as many people over as they can. Like, the corporate saying is, you don't get to the top without stepping on a few hands, you know? Like, it's crazy. I do dread when I pass and my nephews and niece just get a house full of games and consoles, but I'll be dead, so it'll be fine. Oh, shit. Hell yeah. That'd be a great narrative.
You don't need to be conspiracy theorist to be angry about that. You know, the boring best case scenario is that it's terrible bookkeeping, corporate ass covering, and aggressive bullying lawsuits from a corporate entity. Still really bad, if you ask me. Still terrible.
Well, yeah, the people who are the worst in this situation are the corporate people. The franchisee owners, I think, have gotten a lot of slack because the corporate people are so bad. I think that it's deflecting from the fact that these ex-franchisee guys were also pretty bad. They were also pretty scummy, you know? It's just that the CEO and the corporation were so bad that they deflected from it all. I don't know. The only people that aren't in the wrong are, like, Reckless Ben and the Brian guy, you know? The dudes whose money was stolen and shit. To be fair, my eldest nephew knows he just gets everything because I can actually trust him, to be fair. We're on the same wavelength. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Terrible.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta have someone who's on that same wavelength as you. Those are the people to have around.
The optional look. And it sucks because there's real franchise owners who aren't pieces of shit who are getting death threats. Store in Sacramento had to close for a week. Even Ben told his people to knock off all the, I guess, the death threats. So be furious, but at the right things, I guess.
Well, yeah, don't ever send death threats. That's the dumbest shit you can do. Like, I'm sorry, and I'm a full-on free speech guy, right? I love free speech. I think you should be able to say anything but a death threat. If you threaten violence on somebody, that is not legally protected speech. That's the only speech that's not legally protected. You cannot threaten somebody with violence. I'm sorry, but it's just not something you can do legally, and for good reasons. But at the same time, I think that this Bricks and Minifigs Corporation needs to go completely under. And while I feel bad for the other franchisee owners who didn't do anything wrong, I still think that they bought into the wrong horse. Oh well, too bad, rip bozo, boo-hoo. I don't care. You worked for a bad company. You made the wrong choice. Such is life.